A new variant of the coronavirus is emerging from South Africa, and it could throw cruising out the door yet again. We're going to take a look at the first indicators that something may be going wrong in the future with cruises. The Cayman Islands have been pretty unfriendly to cruise ships over the past few months, but now there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We'll give you an update on the Cayman Islands. Plus, a story about MSC Cruise Line's vaccine mandate has caused some confusion even amongst this channel. I'm going to provide you an update with a little bit more specificity on what MSC is doing with their fully vaccinated cruising policy. And speaking of MSC, they're making moves down in Jamaica, as for the first time in over a year, 2 MSC cruise ships have now docked in Jamaica. Princess Cruise Lines has announced cancellations and a pause to the restart for 2 of their ships. We'll give you the bad news coming up. Plus, longtime Midships viewers will remember that the Florida Keys wants nothing to do with cruise ships. Well, guess what? This Saturday, the Keys are going to see their first cruise ship in a long time, and things could go down. We'll tell you the full story. All this coming up on Midships. Hey, welcome to the Midships YouTube channel. I'm your Captain Corey, and thank you so much for stopping by the channel today. Well, I hope each and every one of you had an absolutely fantastic Thanksgiving. Hope you had full bellies, a great afternoon nap, and maybe even your favorite football team won or lost in the afternoon. And as we're getting started today, I want to remind you that we are less than a month away now from the Christmas holiday. So make sure you're getting your shopping in, getting everything ready to go, and hopefully scoring some of those Black Friday cruise deals. If you look back a couple days into the video history on this channel, we did do an episode covering Black Friday cruise deals. So I think you have, for most of the cruise lines, until about Monday to get your shopping in for Black Friday. Think Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Princess, Norwegian, MSC, they all have something going on. So I'd encourage you to check out that video. I'll go ahead and post it up here in the upper right-hand corner, as well as leave a link to it in the description below this video. While you're down there, do me a big favor. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel with the bell notification turned on. Also, smash the like button if you can't wait to be on your next cruise ship. Also, you might notice there are some Amazon affiliate links in the description box below. They're right at the very top. That's some really cool cruise swag that those links will take you to, things that I use on every single cruise that I go on. Now let's get into today's cruise news, and I want to start by issuing a little update to the MSC Cruises vaccine mandate story we covered 2 days ago on the Midships channel. And I'm going to show you the initial article that we covered just so you get an idea and hopefully jog your memory here. So this was the initial article we covered from cruiseindustrynews.com, and I think it was a little bit blurry, so I want to go ahead and jump over to cruisecenter.com and give you a little bit more details, I think, on exactly where the mandate is going into effect, because I don't actually think, from what I've gathered, that it's coming to the US quite yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be on the way sooner or later. So this article is from crew-center.com, entitled MSC Cruises to accept only fully vaccinated guests for the winter season. And so we're just going to cover the first paragraph of this article. MSC Cruises announced the company will accept only fully vaccinated guests for the winter season across the entire fleet, with obligation of an additional COVID test pre-embarkation. These measures were in use for all of the line's winter voyages in other regions, but now just the Mediterranean sailings have been added to the list with the new requirements. So that's the clarification I'm going to issue for the previous episode of Midships about the MSC vaccine mandate story. I still have yet to find any news coming out for US sailings mandating everybody on board MSC ships be fully vaccinated. So it looks like that story was just referring to ships in the Med. Now, why don't we hop into the cruise news with a story coming out from Princess Cruise Lines about cancellations and restart plans that have been changed. From cruisecritic.com by Aaron Saunders, Princess Cruises has canceled additional sailings aboard 2 of their vessels, postponing their restarts until spring of next year. On Tuesday, Princess announced it would cancel voyages aboard the Crown Princess through April 29th, while Fleetmate Island Princess will see its voyages canceled through April 17th of next year. The first revenue voyage for Island Princess will now be a 14-day Panama Canal journey from Fort Lauderdale to Los Angeles on April 27th. Crown Princess won't restart until Saturday, May 7th, when the ship ship sails from Seattle bound for Alaska. And we have a statement from Princess Cruises' website. It says, after careful consideration, we found it necessary to delay the restart of Island and Crown Princess to spring of next year to enable further staggering of our broader return to service plans. So those booked aboard any of the canceled cruises are encouraged to go to Princess Cruises' website, log into your cruise manager. You have until December 31st to make one of 3 choices for your cruise. You can get a full refund, lift and shift to another date, or just receive a future cruise credit. Longtime Midships viewers will know that Key West, a few months ago, voted to completely ban cruise ships from stopping in their port in response to the pandemic. Well, things have changed in Florida, and that law has been struck down on a state level, so cruise travel is once again allowed to happen in Key West, and one cruise line is gonna brave the port and finally make their first call to the port of Key West. We'll give you a little update on the situation that's going down, and we might even see some protests going on at the cruise port. Let's learn a little bit more from KEYSWEEKLY.com. By Mandy Miles. Cruise ships come back to Key West on Saturday. 2 cruise ships are coming back to a much different Key West this Saturday. Much has changed since any of their ilk last visited in March of 2020. So much. Most cruise ships are no longer welcome, say more than half of Key West voters who in November of 2020 approved local referendums to drastically reduce the number of ships and people allowed to dock in Key West. 6 months later, a new state law specifically voided those and any voter initiatives that seek to restrict maritime commerce in the whole state of Florida. The Azamara Quest will dock at 7:30 a.m. this Saturday at city-owned Mallory Pier. With 1,094 passengers capacity on the ship and an additional 400 crew members, the ship meets the city's new cruise ship size and capacity limits. It is one of only 11 smaller ships that meet the new criteria and are scheduled to visit Key West in the coming year. At 9 a.m. Saturday, Crystal Serenity will also dock at the privately owned Pier B with a total capacity of nearly 1,700 passengers. With a total capacity of nearly 1,700 people, crew and passengers combined, the ship, when full, would exceed the city's prohibition of ships that carry more than 1,500 people. But the Crystal Serenity is arriving with only 476 passengers on board. All told, the combined passenger count of both ships arriving in the Keys on Saturday will be 911. When Key West voter initiative was voided by the new state law, cruise ship opponents led by Key West Committee for Safer, Cleaner Ships urged city officials to instead turn those referendums into ordinances, which hadn't been voided by state laws. Those ordinances, however, are not yet in place. Now, there's a lot of back and forth going on down in Key West, but I can tell you a lot of the business owners are pushing back against this ordinance to restrict cruise travel and travel in general, because think about what they've gone through over the past 2 years. Were I a business owner, I would have abandoned ship a long time ago in the Florida Keys. Well, we have good news coming out of the Cayman Islands. In a story from cruiseradio.net by Doug Parker, entitled Grand Cayman Reopens to First Cruise Ship in 20 Months. For the first time in nearly 20 months, the Western Caribbean port of Grand Cayman will welcome a cruise ship with passengers. Holland America Line's new Staten Dam has been given permission to call on the island on December 28th, although there are strict restrictions in place with regard to who can and cannot go ashore once the ship arrives. Though not part of the island's Phase 4 reopening, Tourism Minister Kenneth Bryan announced the news this Wednesday. And remember that Grand Cayman has been closed to travelers since March 16th of 2020, only reopening November 20th to air travelers. Well, we have Jamaica/MSC news to cover, so let's hop into that now from cruiseradio.net by Sarah Bretz. New MSC Seashore arrives in Jamaica and docks beside her sister ship. MSC Seashore is officially on her first revenue cruise out of her new home port of Miami, and today arrived in Falmouth, Jamaica for the first time. To make the occasion even more special, the ship was joined in port for her first visit by her sister ship, the MSC Divina. Divina was MSC Cruises' very first vessel to sail from North America back in late 2013. The Seashore is currently on a 14-night cruise with other calls including Cozumel, Grand Cayman, San Juan, St. Thomas, Amber Cove, and MSC's fantastic private island, Ocean Cay Marine Reserve. And it looks like Twitter was excited showing photos of the Divina next to the Seashore here in Falmouth, Jamaica. If you'd like to go ahead and check out any of the images or any of the articles referenced in today's episode, there are links in the video description below. So that's super exciting news coming out of Jamaica. I'm so glad to hear that MSC has another brand new ship in service here out of Florida. And I personally can't wait to get back on MSC and head back out to their fantastic private island, Ocean Cay Marine Reserve. If you've never been there, it's not really quite the same as a lot of the other cruise line private islands. You're not going to find crazy water slides or a bunch of gimmicky things to entertain and excite. It's a more relaxing kind of, I would say, Caribbean-inspired type of area where you can kick up, relax, enjoy your drink package on shore, and just really take in nature. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, I would highly recommend an MSC cruise. Now we have to get into the biggest news of the day, and I think this is something that might really affect cruising going forward, so we need to start talking about it, and that is a new COVID variant that is being feared that's emerging, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more now and how it's affecting cruise lines in the near term. From cruiseindustrynews.com, cruise line stocks drop on Friday on fears of new COVID variant. Cruise line stocks were having a Black Friday morning to forget about on November 26th, opening well into the red based on fears of a new coronavirus variant coming out of South Africa that could lead to major travel restrictions. 15 minutes after opening bell, Carnival stocks had already dropped by 10%. Royal Caribbean was also down about 10%, while Norwegian Cruise Lines was down nearly 8%. So this is a pretty short article, but I just wanted to pull that up to show you how the markets are already reacting to this new variant we're hearing about coming out of South Africa. It's definitely something we're going to keep our eyes and ears out for in the coming weeks and months. And hopefully it's just something that maybe scares us right now, but blows over here in a couple weeks or months. But we're definitely going to have to watch out for this going forward, because something like this, I mean, if you guys remember what happened with the Delta variant, it threw a wrench into cruising. Sure, we're still cruising, but the restrictions are still going down. There's whole countries that are restricting cruises as a result of the Delta variant. So every time we hear of a new variant, it has the potential to really screw things up going forward. If you made it this far into today's episode, why haven't you subscribed to the channel? I put out new videos almost every single day. While you're down there subscribing, make sure you've liked this video. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel today. And until next time, we'll see ya on the Midships. La